Right now, we're going to welcome in Mark Trible of the Courier Post, get his take on some South Jersey high school sports. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Sully.
How was that Virginia ham, buddy?
Delicious, man. I'm still eating it. We had our dinner yesterday. It's going to be lunch today. It's going to be dinner tonight. It's going to be leftovers I'm taking back.
Are you still down there in Virginia?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Do we have to get a walkie-talkie going for you, or what? You in the countryside? We got a signal going?
Well, what it is it's better than last week when I was dropping calls. I've got this. It's a soup can with a string. It seems to be working so far.
Get some Morse code going.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll ask questions on the air, and then we'll wait for your text response, and then I'll read off your text. So there'll be some dead air for the next 12 minutes.
Yeah, I'll send a fax from the nearest Kinko's.
So how was the holiday, man?
Oh, it was great, Sully. It's really a lot to be thankful for on my end, and to get to see my folks and get back to the place I grew up and still have so many fond memories. Really is nice. It's a nice breather after a pretty it's a pretty busy football season. So it was nice to get away for a little bit.
I picture you as a khakis guy for Thanksgiving dinner with the button-down shirt under the light sweater.
That's exactly what it was.
Yes,
that's you pegged it, man.
I know you too well, and I'm guessing the light sweater was probably like a Carolina blue.
That was. Let's just say for your sake that it was. So congratulations, Sully. Yeah, I think that highly of you. I'll give you that layup.
Man, I nailed it on that one. I know Mark Trible.
Absolutely, man. You're a good man, and you got a great memory, Sully.
I went with the dark jeans, the boots, and the what do you call that? Argyle, the navy blue Argyle with the light blue Argyle front sweater. Okay,
so you were North Carolina, because that's their thing.
Oh, really?
Argyle on the side of the shorts, the Carolina blue and the navy blue. The Argyle is since the Dean Smith days, man. So you were a Carolina guy on. And I saw your picture, Florida Georgia line on Facebook of Tiger Minetti out there in the short sleeves on Turkey Day.
Is that guy nuts or what, man?
We got all the southern states: Virginia, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. This is going to turn into the Mason-Dixon hour.
Well, I did go to college in North Carolina, so I got a little bit of roots down there.
Absolutely, man. There's a lot of good ones. My brother went to college in North Carolina, so I got nothing poor to say about that.
Yeah, so Tiger Minetti, assistant coach for Holy Spirit, 15 degrees at the wind chill. He's out there in short sleeves and shorts. Guy's nuts.
I'm at this point.
I don't know if he's nuts or tough.
Well, remember he was out there in the rain in shorts and sleeves. I don't know what it would take for Tiger. We need to get Tiger on here next week and talk it over with him. I don't know what it would take for Tiger to not have that. I mean, the guy is as tough as they come, man. If you're a player, you got to feed off that, right? You look over, this guy is out there in shorts and short sleeves. What do you have to complain about in your long sleeve Under Armour turtleneck and your ski mask? I mean, come on, play the ball.
It's funny. I was kind of joking with quarterback Ryan Yost before the game. He had the long sleeve Under Armour on. I was like, dude, come on, man. Your assistant coach is out here in short sleeves and shorts. He's like, that dude's crazy.
What a great guy, though, Tiger. And certainly they got a big one next week. And St. Joe up at MetLife, it should be a pretty good game, Sully.
Yeah, man, especially the way Holy Spirit's defense been playing lately. I mean, those guys have really come together. Guy that doesn't get a lot of attention is Wally Jones, linebacker, and Azim Baker-Coley. Those guys, they can hit, man. They're I don't think that linebacking crew gets mentioned in the same breath as the guys from St. Augusta or Mainland or Pleasantville, but they're right up there at the top.
Yeah, and I think Baker-Coley had a pick six the first time they played St. Joe, or maybe it was a fumble return or some type of defensive score. You were at that game, Sully, so I'm not entirely sure. But, Holy Spirit has a very talented roster. They're just going to have to figure out. I'm sure that what they're doing right now, Mark Reardon's probably got to play the turkey next to him and a legal pad full of notes is how to stop that run game with that big offensive line of St. Joe. Really, that's where it starts and ends for the Wildcats. But it's cool to see them play again. I would have liked to see it down in South Jersey, but I guess they're gonna play it at MetLife, so people are gonna be there to see it, man.
I'll tell you what, man, it's gonna be a thrill for those kids. I was talking to some of the Holy Spirit kids at practice this week, and they were all fired up about being able to play in a pro stadium, and that's one of the cool things about this switch up to North Jersey is, these kids, how many of them are ever going to go pro, if any of them, and maybe not even play at that level in college in a stadium like that, and just to be able to go in there and kind of get dressed in the Giants locker room, Jets locker room, that kind of thing, visiting locker room, whatever it might be, and man, that's got to be a thrill for a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, I'm sure it is, without a doubt. I'm not sure exactly how the whole situation plays out up there in terms of when you get there. Now, with the game staggered, you can't be in the locker room for too long, I'm sure.
Yeah, Coach Russo was telling me, I think,
for halftime.
I want to say they're allowed in the locker room at, they're playing at 5 o'clock Friday night, so I think they're allowed in the locker room at 3 or something like that, and they're only allowed on the field from like 4 to 4:40 or something like that.
Okay.
So it's a very more condensed pregame than what they're probably used to.
Oh, sure, but they'll get over it. I mean, just stretch.
But
out
they're gonna leave.
Coach
Russo from Holy Spirit said they're gonna leave this area around noon, so they'll get up there probably around 2, have a chance to kind of look around, get a quick tour of the stadium. So got to be a fun day for both those teams.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, Pennsgrove plays today at 1. I know they left about 8:06 this morning from exit 4 to hook up with the Turnpike and get up there. So, they play at 1. It gives about 5 hours. I would imagine that's about the form for some of these teams going up there.
So, Mark, talk a little bit about Williamstown. We spoke with Kevin Minnick a little bit about that game, and man, just a heartbreaking way to lose that game in the final minute with a special teams turnover in the end zone, and got to feel bad for those kids. But what a great season that team's had, and we kind of saw this coming a couple years ago when they started playing all those sophomores and took a few lumps, but man, there's some talented kids on that team.
Yeah, and when they beat RV in the championship last Saturday night, Sully, that was really the culmination of a lot of things. And you could kind of feel it, that it just kind of, the pot boiled over. They played this perfect game, and the celebration on the field. I mean, let's be honest, that's really the game that matters here, and I'm not going to discount these games or whatever they're called. But you're right. They went 3-7. They went 5-5. They did those things with some younger players. I think Wade Inge, he played as a freshman. Other than that, there weren't none of these guys were around when they made it to the 5 South Jersey final and lost to Toms River by a touchdown a few years ago. This was about more than that. I think there was some frustration. You remember, they used to run the wing T. They switched up their offense. Offense coordinator Gallagher installed the offense, the spread. They went out of shotgun a lot of times. They really started to hone in on some details. They lost some kids that transferred out, in those early years, years ago. Kind of just, I don't know, man. They tightened the screws on the whole program and really started to home in on what they wanted to do. They have beautiful facilities. They have an excellent coaching staff. I don't think it could be said about that. And those kids bought in. They worked hard. They were in there year-round. This was their goal, was to win South Jersey, go undefeated. They did that. Last night, okay, it's a blip on the radar. So I don't think that's how they're going to remember this season. They're going to remember that game against RV, and rightfully so. But you win as a team, you lose as a team. There was a fumble on special teams, but you know what? What can you do? There were also a number of times when special teams really helped them. So it's just kind of the way it goes, Sully, but certainly an excellent season for Coach Fusatola and the Braves. And I know they were disappointed to not win last night, but I don't think anybody was hanging their heads.
And talking with Mark Trible with the Courier Post, and Mark, one of the teams I don't think I've given enough airtime or credit to is Pennsgrove, man. That's a good team. I saw them in the preseason against Pleasantville, and their quarterback's a heck of an athlete. And talk about that team a little bit. Some of the listening audience may not really know much about Pennsgrove and what kind of season they've had.
Well, Sully, they have 4 seniors on the roster. 3 of them play, and one hasn't played this year. But and that's nothing to say. Tyreek Brown, Jay Tillman, and I believe it's Michael Smith are great. Michael James are great players for Pennsgrove, very, very good players. But the junior class has driven this team, and last year a lot of them saw time. They made it to the final and lost to Paulsboro. Team the last 5 years of midgets was 59-1.
Wow.
Came into high school, they lost one game in 5 years. The talent there, that core group, Nazir Robinson, Kevon Lewis, quarterback, Jamar Dada Johnson, receiver defensive back, Makai Scott, who's an excellent linebacker, Torvon Ransom. You could just go down the list of guys. I know it doesn't mean much to the listening audience. These are some names you should be listening to also next year. Pennsgrove is equipped to do this thing again next year, regardless of what happens. It's a very talented and very deep Willingboro team this weekend.
And Mark, real quick before we let you go, I've been so impressed with Haddonfield this year. I mean, they're not going to fly off the huddle screen at you as a bunch of game-breaking athletes, but man, that defense just works together and really kind of breaks your will as the game goes on.
Yeah, and another team where the coaching staff is excellent. It's a large coaching staff. Same could be said of Shawnee. These teams that do it traditionally year in, year out. Obviously, Frank Delano at the helm there is unbelievable. Probably maybe the best coach in South Jersey. Mike Miller does a great job with the defense. They do an excellent job defensively. You look at Klaus off the edge, spectacular player. Michael Denoya on the line. Davis Smith, Johnny Foley on the outsides. Drew Gavernich. These guys come to work every day with their hard hats on. It's a team that went through a 3-game losing streak last year. They got hammered by Sterling the last game of the regular season. They beat Sterling the first round of the playoffs. They haven't lost since. 2-time South Jersey champions. Really, really tough to beat. A one-game scenario, anybody in the state that's a public school would really have trouble with Haddonfield because they just scheme it up so well. Their kids are attentive to detail. You're right. They're not going to jump off the screen, but when you see them in person, they're as athletic as anybody else. Just a very, very good team.
And their quarterback, Jay Foley, man, he's what, 5'8", 5'9", maybe 170, 175, and he's the kind of kid where if he throws a pick and you think you got a pick six, he's going to come light you up on a sideline. I mean, he's a tough kid.
But Sully, look at Kyler Murray last night for Oklahoma leading that win at West Virginia.
Yeah.
You look at Baker Mayfield, Doug Flutie, some other guys. He might be 5'8" and 170 pounds, whatever. Jay Foley thinks he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof, and he's got the arm that kind of backs that up. So you know what? That's the kind of mindset you got to have if you're a smaller guy, and he certainly has it. He's a gamer. I think in a one-game situation, again, he's the type of guy you want leading your team down the field to win a game, and he might be doing that next weekend against Hillside. We'll see.
Great stuff, as always, Mark. We appreciate it, and plenty more football to go. We'll talk more about some of these games next weekend, so get your winter cap out. It's going to be chilly out there this weekend and next, but we always appreciate the work you do and the information you give on a radio show here on a weekly basis. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up with you next week, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Sully. Thanks, Nick. You guys enjoy your day.
Thanks, bud.